I was trembling with fear. My sister-in-law, Susanna, was yelling at me without any consideration. I have never been comfortable around her.
Come on, hurry up and take care of your annoying mother.
My mother had passed away from cancer just 3 days ago. Who does she think she's living with? My name is Nanny, a 45-year-old office worker. I've been married to Rob for 15 years, but we don't have any children. We tried treatments, but nothing worked. We considered adoption, but couldn't bring ourselves to do it. We both love kids, so it was a tough pill to swallow. I felt especially guilty towards Rob, but he said,
"Kids aren't everything. We have each other. That's what matters."
So we adopted a cat named Marianne. Marianne was a rescue from a hoarding situation. She was initially very aggressive, but now she's like a loving daughter to us. We have told my in-laws about our fertility issues, but they have been nothing but kind. Life was ordinary but happy until a few years ago when we started having issues with a certain individual. Susanna, the wife of my brother Morris. Susanna is 10 years younger than my brother and 8 years younger than me.
I'm your sister-in-law, so show some respect.
She told me the first time we met. I hadn't seen my brother much since our parents divorced when I was in 6th grade. He went with our dad and I stayed with our mom. After the divorce, my brother moved to our father's hometown. He had a hard time there, especially in school. Eventually, he began to resent our mother. 10 years ago, when our father passed away, my brother yelled at my mother and me during the wake.
"I don't want to see your faces. You are not my family."
We left quickly and my mother looked heartbroken. My brother had been told by our father and grandparents that he was abandoned by our mother, which was a lie. My mother always wanted to take him back, but my father wouldn't allow it.
"I don't need a daughter. Take her and leave."
I wasn't sad about it. My father was always a figure of terror for me. After that, we lost contact with my brother. But 3 years ago, he suddenly showed up at our house.
"Hey, long time no see."
It was awkward. The last time we had met was at our father's funeral. Then a petite woman appeared behind him. At the time, my brother was in his early 40s, but the woman looked much younger. Who is this and why are they here? Confused, I heard my brother say,
"I got married. This is my wife, Susanna."
The room went silent. Because my thought was, so what? When I got married, I reached out to my brother, but he never responded. No congratulations, no wedding gift. Oh, really? Congratulations. Would you like to come in? I thought it was odd that they just showed up, so I invited them in.
Ew, you have a cat? I hate cats. Shoo shoo.
Susanna, my brother's wife, was rude right off the bat. Marianne, sensing something, hissed at Susanna. It had been a while since I had seen Marianne act like that, but I felt bad for stressing her out.
Coffee's fine,
Susanna told me, then plopped herself down on a chair and turned on the TV. I had never met anyone so brazen. My brother just sat there watching TV, not saying a word to Susanna. Why are they even here and who does she think she is? So rude. I made coffee, feeling irritated. As we made small talk, I learned that Susanna was 8 years younger than me. I was 42 at the time. So she's 34. How can someone be this clueless at 34? What does my brother see in her? I had nothing but questions. But there was something good about Susanna that only my brother knows. I didn't really care. Out of nowhere, she says,
"You know, I'm your sister-in-law. You can't talk casually to me, it's common sense."
This from the woman who showed up unannounced and disrespected our family pet Marianne? I had had enough. Alright, Susanna, I have to go out, so... I hinted for them to leave. My brother seemed to want to go too.
"Alright, Susanna, let's go."
As I was about to see them out,
"Wait, we haven't received our wedding gift yet,"
she said. That's when I understood everything. My brother probably didn't want to come but was dragged here by her. How shameless can she be? I have never received a gift from my brother. Sorry, we weren't prepared for your visit. We'll come by later with a check.
But Susanna said, "Who cares about your husband? Your brother's the one getting married. Cash is fine."
I lost it. Listen, brother. When I got married, you didn't even congratulate me, and now you bring this rude woman into my house?
My brother said, well, I told her I didn't want to come, but she insisted.
I was still irritated.
Susanna got upset at my words. Didn't you learn to respect your elders? Just be happy for your brother's marriage. I may be younger, but I am your sister-in-law.
Enough? I have to go. Please leave. I finally kicked them out. Outside, Susanna kept yelling, but anyone could see she was the unreasonable one. I hugged Marianne, who looked worried, and apologized. That night, I told my husband Rob everything.
Unbelievable.
He said, equally appalled.
Who wouldn't say that? So what are we going to do about a gift?
I don't think we need to do anything. My brother never gave me anything, so it's fair, and after today, I doubt they will visit again. I don't plan on keeping in touch. My husband agreed. Later, I told my mom, who lives nearby, about the whole thing. She was shocked. From the looks of it, my brother hasn't visited her either. He probably still resents her. I couldn't expose my mom to such crazy people in her current state. How are you feeling today, Mom? My mom was diagnosed with cancer during a city health checkup last year. She had surgery, but her prognosis wasn't good. Given her frail health, she had more bad days than good. I offered to live together, but she declined. I moved to this house because it's close to hers. Finding a pet-friendly place was tough, but it was worth it. Since Mom got sick, I switched to a job that allows me to work from home so I could spend more time with her. So Morris has a wife now. That's good. What's she like? I couldn't tell Mom that Susanna was a nightmare, so I just said, she's lively. Mom seemed to believe me. Morris is a bit reserved, so a cheerful person will make their home happier, she said, smiling as if genuinely pleased. Mom never forgot about my brother, not for a single day. I hoped they would reconcile someday, but given my brother's behavior, it seemed unlikely. Mom seemed to know this too, as she never sent any congratulatory messages to him. Weeks later, while I was preparing dinner, the doorbell rang. My heart raced when I saw Susanna on the monitor. I considered pretending I wasn't home, but had to answer the door. The last time she visited, she made such a fuss that the property management warned me. What does she want now? I opened the door with the chain on. Susanna grinned and said,
Long time no see. I'm here for the wedding gift. You must be ready by now.
I was glad the chain was on. Where's my brother today? Susanna looked annoyed.
I'm alone today. Hurry up.
When I stayed silent, she said,
What? You don't want to give us anything? You're so stingy. You don't even have kids. You must have money.
Her words about not having kids almost made me cry.
I don't need to see your tears.
She added, What did I even do to her? I resented my brother for marrying her. Then my husband Rob appeared behind her.
Is there something you need?
Rob's imposing stature, Susanna was visibly intimidated.
Are you the husband? I'm Morris's wife, Susanna. I came to announce our marriage.
Rob interrupted, I see. But we have no intention of celebrating your marriage, especially not to someone who verbally abuses my wife.
Rob continued,
Isn't a wedding gift a matter of goodwill? Your actions could be considered extortion. Should we consult the police?
He took out his phone. He had recorded our conversation and showed it to Susanna. She couldn't say anything.
You two are idiots. No wonder you can't have kids.
She yelled, then stormed off.
Sorry, I was late to help. She's even worse in person. I wouldn't want to marry someone like that,
Rob said. I was truly grateful to him. We never saw my brother and his wife again. 3 years later, my phone rang. I usually don't answer unknown numbers, but when I did, I was greeted with a loud,
Stop it already!
I could only think of one person who would be this rude. What's this all about, Susanna? It was unmistakably the voice of my brother's wife, Susanna. She must have found my number from my brother's phone. I can't believe he's still married to her. He's a tough one. I listened to Susanna, wondering if something had happened to my brother. As I listened, my face turned pale. I thought Susanna had finally lost it. I'm sorry, Susanna. What did you just say?
Come and get your annoying mother. She's been living with us for a month. A month! I'm going to bill you for all the living expenses.
I told her a fact she didn't expect. Susanna, I don't know what you're talking about. Did my brother tell you my mother passed away 3 days ago?
What? Who's going to believe that lie? I'm recording this call, you know. I'll take you to the police. I'm returning your mother, Isabel, tomorrow. Don't run away.
She hung up, yelling. I was confused. My mother had indeed passed away 3 days ago, and her funeral was about to start. And her name wasn't Isabel, it was Annie. Who is she living with? And she said a month. This is scary. My mother's health had been deteriorating and her cancer had returned. She passed away peacefully 3 days ago. Final moments were such that she slept without much pain. I had informed my brother, but all he said was, I won't go. I thought it would be the last moment at least, but if my brother didn't regret it, then I couldn't say anything. I wondered if I should tell my brother that Susanna had contacted me, but I didn't feel like talking, so I decided to accept Susanna's offer. The next day, my cat, Marianne, started acting restless. I knew she was coming. A few minutes later, the doorbell rang continuously. I was already furious. I opened the door to find a smug Susanna, a subdued-looking brother, and an unfamiliar older woman. Susanna barged in and made a face when she saw my husband. My husband looked at her disdainfully.
Pay me $3,000 for taking care of your mother for a month, and you lied to me on the phone yesterday. If you don't want to get reported, how about we settle for $10,000?
My brother's wife Susanna said to me with a proud look on her face. I chuckled and opened the door to the next room. Susanna, since you're here, why don't you pay your respect? Let me introduce you to my mother, Annie. I showed her my mother's portrait. My brother muttered, Mom? Susanna finally believed me.
What's going on? Explain.
She yelled. She grabbed my brother's collar. The older woman shouted,
Please stop. Let Morris go.
I realized she must be my brother's mistress. Susanna was in a frenzy, hurling insults at my brother. Seeing that the conversation was going nowhere, I intervened. If you keep making a scene, I'll call the police, okay? She glared but calmed down. Then my brother began to speak softly. I wanted to leave Susanna for a long time. I was deceived. My brother and his wife Susanna originally met at work. Before they got married, Susanna seemed like a demure woman. Turns out she was just putting on an act. Her true nature was anything but pleasant. My brother had no control over his salary. She gave him a measly $10 allowance per month. Susanna, who was only after his money, quit her job as soon as they got married. She lounged around at home, never lifting a finger to do any housework, and spent his money however she pleased. When my brother finally decided to divorce her, she told him, I will never divorce you. You'll work for me for the rest of your life. It was like he was living as her slave. The last time I saw my brother 3 years ago, he had lost a lot of weight. In stark contrast, Susanna had gained a lot. It was clear he was living a miserable life. Around that time, my brother met Isabel. Despite their significant age difference, they were drawn to each other and she reciprocated his feelings. He lied and said Isabel was our mother, hoping that Susanna would eventually get fed up and leave. But for Susanna, it was just another servant added to her household. My brother told Susanna, My sister asked me to take care of our mom for a while. She'll cover the expenses. What a terrible thing for him to say. So you're an idiot, huh, big bro? I'm sorry.
You lied to me? Are you kidding?
Fed up with Susanna's yelling, I said, Can we wrap this up? We are grieving the loss of our mother. Please take your leave. Frustrated, Susanna turned red and boasted, I'm going to get rich off the divorce settlement from you two idiots. Maybe I'll buy a fancy apartment. All right then, good for you, I replied, making her even angrier. I handed my brother an envelope. This is from Mom. Just before she passed away, I had received a letter from her for my brother. Reading it, he broke down in tears. Isabel gently rubbed his back. I felt he could finally live a peaceful life with her. That's how I felt. Then my husband Rob said, Brother-in-law, you should definitely sue her for the emotional distress she's caused you. I'll introduce you to a lawyer I know. In return, please never show up in front of us again. My brother nodded silently. In response, Susanna arrogantly said,
You think a man can sue for emotional distress? That only works for a woman.
That's for the law to decide, not you. My husband calmly retorted, I felt so grateful to be married to him. Eventually, my brother and Susanna got divorced. He remarried Isabel. Since Susanna had squandered most of his money, there wasn't much left for the settlement. My brother's claim for emotional distress against Susanna was successful, of course. He also had to pay her some alimony, but it was covered by his and Isabel's savings. In the end, Susanna was left with almost nothing. We thought, serves her right. Now, in her late 30s, Susanna's search for marriage and re-employment will not be so easy. A woman like that cannot even remarry. Let her struggle. After the ordeal, we moved. Our new home is close to my husband's workplace, and the view is beautiful. We can even have a cat. I'm thinking of quitting my remote job and going back to work outside the home. As I looked out the window and gently stroked our sleeping cat Marianne, I felt grateful for the peaceful life we now have.